let's get serious.
I'm looking for a man in finance with trust fund. 6'5", blue eyes, finance with trust fund. 6'5", blue eyes, blue eyes, blue eyes, blue eyes, blue eyes, blue eyes, 6'5", blue eyes, 6'5", blue eyes, 6'5", trust fund, blue eyes, 6'5", 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 for a man named 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 6'5", blue eyes, 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 trust fund, 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 6'5", trust fund, 6'5", finance, trust fund, finance, trust fund, finance, trust fund, blue eyes, 6'5", blue eyes, 6'5", blue eyes, blue eyes, blue eyes, 6'5", 6'5", 6'5", 6'5".
I can't do it anymore. But that actually wasn't the point of the video. Philosophically, my point, you don't need that man. Unfortunately, society is not really set up for us to be that man ourselves. I would say you can be that man, but that's kind of like second wave feminism, and third wave feminism is like, how can I figure out a way to be self-sufficient and independent while also allowing myself to be feminine in a way that suits me? I feel like I'm constantly trying to figure out what that means for me. But anyway, I would never knock a woman on the way that she feels like she needs to have her life set up to make herself feel good. So, girl, if you're gonna get, you go get that. If that was what makes you feel protected against the powers that be, I'm just saying, I don't know if that's it. This is a Teenage Engineering KO2 sampler, beatmaker, synthesizer. I'm gonna do a little teardown. So right now I'm taking off the back panel. Sometimes I feel like I'll be curious about what's going on the inside of something that I'm using. And I wonder if you're curious about that too. So let's find out. Finance, trust fund, 6'5". And then these are all the switches, and there's a little battery pack. Finance, trust fund, 6'5". There's a lot of screws on this one, bear with me. Sampling is kind of an interesting concept just in general because it's sort of anti-ownership. I'm not gonna use the C word, but it's anti-ownership in that like the classic aesthetic is you're crate digging for vinyl records and then you sample vinyl records into your sampler, which there's been many iterations of this hardware like for all of time. Not for all of time, but like I guess probably since like the 90s. And then producers like J Dilla, MIA, I mean, even kind of like mixtape culture, like Frank Ocean remixing American Wedding or California, whatever that main original song is called. I guess my point is like sampling is kind of something that's very human and like natural, and it's like a reference point. I guess that our like, psychologies are pretty referential. Even in scientific papers and everything, we use references to base our data. So in that way, sampling is the musical version of the fact that all of our knowledge is referential. What's also cute is that it's kit, it's DIY. Not only does it bake your flavor into the sauce in a way that this kick drum comes from my favorite Etta James record, whoever. I'm not like the deepest cut music history head, but something that is in the act of sampling that is really human, I guess that's one of my points. So Teenage Engineering came up with this drum machine sampler, Tang, and I think it's pretty cute. People are kind of hating. Finance, trust fund, 6'5". I've taken all the screws out of this main PCB and now, wait, first I'm gonna take all of these guys off. I thought it was interesting that they have you put the knobs on when you receive it. As a product manager, I'm like, they didn't want to pay the extra. Like, ops is saying like, no, we're not paying for one more like labor assembly step. But marketing is gonna say like, oh, it's kit, it's DIY. Like that's the user experience. Too many hats, bro, too many hats. Okay, now that I've taken off those covers, I can take off the front panel. This is just like a silicone gate, like shower mat type thing. And This is like the speaker and the battery case, and that's it, kind of. Some of the internal hardware, there's a little bit of dirty on this. I'm putting this off to the side. Here's the real juice. This is everything that aside from the speaker and the battery that make this thing work. Can't really see the traces because it's white. If I tilt it at an angle, you can see that there's traces that run from this chip to the counter screen, the like whatever it's called. So I would assume that whatever this chip is, some kind of CPU maybe, is driving that screen and probably it's also probably driving all these LEDs, which this is the front panel. I mean, the main display, which is interesting that it's not an LED screen, it's, It's this is clever. These are just backlights driven by this computer chip probably, but the backlights, all the images are on, I guess, the inside. Oh, underneath this is like a see-through film with all the images printed on it. And then there's this thing that's like gates the lighting, which is just got little squares for the LEDs to pop up. That's really clever because a screen is quite expensive, but an array of LEDs is really clever. Way to make this cheap. I mean, another really cool thing about this is that it's $200 something because they could diode, computer, and then a bunch of caps probably. Those are like itty bitty surface mount caps. Yeah. That's pretty cool. Okay, anyway, also up here, this is just like a little plastic cover. These are all the jacks. 3.5mm regular consumer size, not pro 1/4 inch, but consumer sized. Okay, battery contact. And then there's a decent amount of stuff happening up here. I would call this, I mean, there's only one PCB, but this is like the motherboard area and you can see all the traces. For anyone who's been here since my previous videos, I'll give you $20 if you guess what this is. Crystal. And then we have 1, 2, 3 ICs. I would guess that this is a main computer just based on how big it is. I'm not gonna, you know what, I like UTE, so I'm not gonna read out the specs of the ICs. You can void your own warranty by taking your own thing apart. Looks like there's another crystal right here. Caps, these are power regulators, probably with the kind of medium-sized black chips, and then little resistors and capacitors. I imagine that one of them drives the computer firmware, how all the pages are whatever. I bet one of them is like DSP. I'm just guessing, dude, I'm just guessing. Anyway, USB jack, etc., etc. If I had to repair one of these, we'll look at the switches in a second. I bet that's one of the main things that's gonna need repair, but I think that these jacks are too small. I don't think personally that I could resolder those. No, I don't even see how they're soldered on. Because normally stuff that needs to get replaced is like jacks. Like what if you rip the USB thing up? I can kind of see legs on the back of the USB. I could maybe solder that, but they're not that accessible. Anyway, let's keep going. So all of these little nubs come off and all these itty bitty tag switches are quite cute. Minxie's here. This little silicone mat is snapped in with these little through holes. Honey, I'm doing something right now. Can you go play? There's a lot of little pieces and you're such a little piece. These are good like keyboard switches, which is kind of cool. But what I want to see is okay, you could definitely resolder these guys. The legs are like accessible. We could replace tact switches. That's this clicky thing, TACT tact switch. These switches, I'm not sure. Okay. Yeah, these are just soldered on with 2 little legs. I think that the main switches are definitely repairable. You can see this sticker that's underneath the main switches is probably for aftertouch, which is velocity sensitivity. If they were selling that part, that could definitely be replaced. These encoders could be replaced as well. I think that the LEDs are probably too small to be replaced. I mean, actually you could. The fact that this whole area is like pretty serviceable is actually really awesome because most stuff isn't. Well, like most new stuff is like frustrating and not serviceable. So yay, good job, Teenage Engineering. It's cool. It's cool. I'm a fan. I'm a fan. And they like have the branded circuit board. Teenage Engineering is like the best. They're the guys to beat right now. They're the Roland. Something else that's interesting is that there's not really there's no ribbon cables or connectors, which like most things, I mean, I guess that's because it's only one board, which is kind of cool. I'm putting everything back. And these press fit pretty nice too. I imagine over time maybe they wouldn't, but right now they do. You know what would be cool actually is if they sold like different colors for these. That would be sick. They should do that. Just call me. I know. Overall, I like really like this toy. This is a good toy. Maybe I'll even buy my own and fill it with stupid TikToks. I think that's the other kind of fun thing about like this current moment in meme culture and everything is like I feel like we have a shared language. We consume a lot of similar audio. That's kind of, maybe that's like the new sampling, although it's not strictly for making music purposes, but I feel like meme culture is the new 2024 version of like sampling. Okay, press that all down tight. We just love, it's a very human thing to love making sounds that are reminiscent of previous sounds. Oops, on. 2, 4, 6, 8, 2, 4, 6, 8. Why do I have more screws than I need? 2. I'm confused. I have 4 extra screws. Oh, got it. I need almost done. Almost done. Okay, so all in all, on this unit, I give it a 4 out of 5 for funness. I give it a 5 out of 5 for playability out the box. I give it a 3 out of 5 for repairability. I give it you know what? I give it a 3.75 out of 5 for repairability. No, I give it a 3. I give it a 3. Compared to other modern things, it's definitely better than other modern things for repairability because I could switch everything. From here down, I could repair everything. From here up, I could not repair anything. I don't think I could switch any jacks or anything. So what is that? Also, I bet you this ratio is the golden ratio. I would put $100 on that. Design team, am I right? Am I right? Yeah, that's my rating. If you liked this video, do whatever you're gonna do. If you didn't like this video, do whatever you're gonna do. If you want more videos like this and also stuff that's like a little bit more, you know, we could go crazy with it, check out my Patreon because I do all kinds of weird stuff on there, so you might want to tap in. Anyway, have a beautiful evening, afternoon, day, hemisphere, galaxy, university.
6, 5, 6, 5, finance, 6, 5, finance, 6, 5, finance, 6, 5, finance, finance, blue eyes, blue eyes, blue eyes, blue eyes, trust fund, 6, 5, trust fund, 6, 5, trust fund, trust fund, trust fund.